Hi everyone, welcome to eSociety 150B1, Social Media and Ourselves. I wanted to start off with a brief overview of how I, in particular, am going to be using D2L and VoiceThread. One of the interesting or nice things about these is that in some sense they're very general tools and they can be used in a variety of ways. So even if you're pretty comfortable with the different functions and different ways that D2L can be used or VoiceThread can be used, it's really helpful to kind of get a little bit of an overview of some of the particular ways that I use this information or I use these tools to share information with you. So we're sitting here at the home page of our course. One of the first things to note is that I use the announcements tool pretty frequently to share information with the class. And so it's very helpful just to make sure that if you get a notification that will often pop up here in this little box, that you don't want to dismiss it right away out of hand. You always want to click through and make sure that you're reading it, because it's a way for me to give different kinds of information and share that with you. The next thing that I wanted to point out, actually as a sort of specific thing that I do with D2L, is that the first thing that you should do is click on the content bar above. For most of you, when you're first logging into the class, it might take you to the course overview, or it might take you to the course schedule. Now, the nice thing about the course schedule and the way that I use it is that I try to make sure that for the next week or two, all of the important due dates are going to be showing up in here. So you have an important sense of like what's coming up for the class and how I'm going to be planning, very specifically in terms of readings and content, the next week or two of my life, right? Where I all have lots of things going on. It's only going to show up for the first week or two, and that's simply because I only open up a couple of modules at a time. So starting on Wednesday, I'll open up module 3 and you'll be able to see that. But I really want us to be focusing on content together and going through the activities kind of in a shared way. And so I don't want people to be moving too far through the material, and that's why everything is kind of opened up time sensitively. So things kind of only pop up and you can only access them at certain times. But I realize that we're all very busy and we need to know what's coming up and how much things we have to do. And so it's not the case that this is the only way for you to see what's happening. Instead, if you go into the Start Here module, this document, Due Dates and Brief Module Descriptions, Our Session at a Glance, is probably going to be your best friend for this whole session. So this document has all of the due dates, all of the readings, everything that's happening, all of the lectures planned out for you. So one of the things that I recommend for students is that this is definitely your sort of best friend, that you ought to, you should be downloading this and referring to it often. And I also suggest looking at these dates and plugging them into whatever calendaring, different kinds of scheduling platforms that you might use. So if you use Google Calendar, if you use Outlook, this is going to be the document that you want to be accessing and sort of putting those dates in so that you can kind of manage your time and know what's coming up. So D2L, again, will remind you via the homepage and through the course schedule what's going to be coming up within the next couple of weeks. And then for the sort of big overview of how the session is going to go, you want to go into Start Here and be accessing the Session at a Glance document, and that includes everything together. So for each of our modules as well, I have divided them up into 3 different sections. So there's going to be a submodule for each one. One of them is going to be PDF or linked readings. This is just if something is outside of our course textbooks, you're going to be able to find those links in this submodule. So you'll see that for our beginning of our course introduction, you've got 3 things that you need to be looking at, and those are all going to be there. There's also lectures and other content from Dr. Lenhart. That's going to be another submodule that's part of every single module that we have. So you see like the course introduction video, the course mechanics video. That's actually what you're looking at right now. And then we have a written lecture introducing ourselves and the course. Similarly, then we have the to-do submodule. That's going to be VoiceThread discussions, assignments, and quizzes. The idea being here that every single module is going to have all the stuff that you need to complete the module organized in a pretty clear way. The other thing that you need to sort of know is that you need to click on the top module 1 right here, like the sort of root module, and you're going to be to access the overview for each module. So this is the overview for the course introduction. And this overview document is going to be available for each module, and it gives you an overview of all of the course materials that you'll need to have, different learning objectives, and all kinds of all of the assignments for that module. So it's basically your roadmap for successfully completing each module. So you'll have the title of the module, the kinds of things that we're going to be, the topic that we're going to be focusing on, the dates that it runs, and then there's going to be a to-do list of all of the things you need to watch and read and complete, our goals and learning objectives, and similarly, any other things to note, like maybe you should be making an appointment to talk to me about some things that are coming up, just any important facts or different kinds of things. This is one of the ways in which I sort of use to sort of highlight common questions or things that come up at different parts of the course. So this is just a really great overview that I use to kind of introduce different kinds of what's going to be happening in each module. The other thing that I wanted to point out as well is that if you have a question about the class, you can ask that either by email with me. Emails with me are a really great thing to do if you have specific questions that are specific to your situation. So if you have a question about your grade, if you know that you're going to be out of town, or you need an extension, or you realize that there's going to be some kind of extenuating circumstance, that's a reason to email me, those kinds of things. But there may be questions that arise that are sort of relevant to the entire class. So suppose you're thinking, gosh, this link isn't working, or this, I'm having this tech issue. That's going to be something that's really helpful to post to the course questions forum, because if you have that question, it's likely that other people have it as well. In light of that, one of the things that I would like it if everyone did was to subscribe to the course questions forum. So you click on the little arrow here, you click on subscribe, and you'll say send me an instant notification. They're only sent via email and not SMS, so it's not like you're going to get a text message. And what that will do is that when anyone posts a question to the course questions forum, you'll be notified to that. The reason that I ask you to subscribe is that someone might have a question and perhaps you didn't really have that, right? You were like, oh, well, I don't know. I that didn't occur to me. I'm not worried about it. But I may respond and point out something that you sort of weren't necessarily aware of in the beginning, or my answer might be illuminating another way. Or it could be the case that, say, I'm in a meeting, sometimes I have a lot of time, or I have my time gets kind of crammed. I've got days where I'm going from one meeting to another, and I just don't have a lot of time to check D2L or check my email. And if you look at a question and someone's saying, hey, I can't find this, and you're like, oh, I know where this is, it's really helpful if we can kind of get in the habit of everyone helping each other out. So I really appreciate it if we can have as much of the questions as possible sort of in the course questions forum. It's usually the case that I can answer questions in this forum within a few minutes, but in the rare situations when I can't do that, it's helpful if we can all kind of chime in and sort of be resources for each other. So that's one of the that's the main reason that I want you to be subscribing to the course questions. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before we sort of finish this video is just how we're going to be using VoiceThread in this class. We're going to be using the VoiceThread in two ways, and I'll explain the second way when we are completing our VoiceThread activity for next week when we talk about social media and ourselves, or what is social media. So click on the content module, and you can go here in sort of module 1 and to do VoiceThread discussions, and you'll see that there is a set of instructions for our selfies, And then there's this link here to the R Selfies VoiceThread space. If you click here, it's going to take you to VoiceThread. And you'll land on this page. This is the sort of introduction first, like me saying, hi, this is what you'll do. The first thing that you want to do is click this little arrow in the corner, move over. You'll get to see me, you'll hear my comments. What you're going to do is actually add a slide to this VoiceThread. And to do that, you're going to see these little stacked tiles in the corner. You'll click on those, and you'll click on this plus sign. And once you click on the plus sign, this is the button to upload files. That's probably what you'll want to do. This will allow you to record audio. That's not what you want to do, because your first assignment is to actually upload audio or upload an image and then comment on it. And this asks you to record video. You may be asked to do that later in the course, but for this one, you're just going to want to upload files. You're going to want to have a picture that's a selfie that you'll upload. So after you've uploaded the selfie, what you'll get is a little screen like this. And so you'll be able to see your picture, and it won't have any of these little comments here. You'll click on the plus sign, and you'll go ahead. This is the button to record audio, and this is the button to type in text, and this will record a comment. You can use any of those to comment on the media that you upload, and it's kind of nice to play around. So you'll see here, this little image means that I've recorded about 30 seconds of an explanation, and then here I've also written some text commentary. One of the things to keep in mind about the text commentary is that you frequently have to expand it so that you can see all of it. So those are just some of the little tricks of the trade that I think are kind of helpful for understanding how it is that we're going to be using the technology specifically in this course. And if you have questions about anything that I've talked about here, please do feel free to post questions in the course questions forum. Or if that makes you feel a little anxious, you can also feel free to email me. And that's fine, and my email is available in the, start here, syllabus, which is also a handy resource for figuring out how you can get a hold of me. So at any rate, I'm really excited about teaching this class. I think it's going to be a great session, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you.